want a clear mind, you want to come out of that slump, you want to trust yourself again, you are going to take your power back today. And it starts right now. So grab your water and a pen or pencil and listen up, because we're diving deep today and you will walk away from this video with every tool you need. Class is in session. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to my channel, where we talk about all things self-help, self-care, wellness, and becoming your best self. If that sounds good to you, maybe you want to stick around and hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you here. Chapter 1, the reasons for ruts. The first thing that needs to be on your mind when you're thinking about any rut that you've gotten into is stagnant energy and emotions. So look at this diagram here. This right here, this is you. And this is energy coming in from the world. When it comes in, it goes into your consciousness, into your body, into your brain. And if you are not getting it out, what it's gonna do is it's gonna bounce around. It's gonna bounce around everywhere in your body, and this is your body. It's like an echo chamber. And so every time that the vibration is getting louder, you're going to feel it more and more, because it is energy. We are energetic beings, and that is how it works. It also can be caused by you releasing emotions and traumas. So that means that energy is going to be coming up through your body, maybe when you're exercising or something like that, and it's going to be coming up, and maybe you'll have pains, maybe you'll have fogginess in your head and different stuff, because the energy needs somewhere to move. So the thing to do is to just constantly keep moving to release that energy so it comes back out, because energy cannot be destroyed. It only can be moved and transmuted. You might also be going through a reset during the winter season. A lot of people don't understand that the world is pausing, the world is dying and going through a reset period when we are in winter. So really, this whole New Year's resolution things, it makes no sense. We're in the middle of winter. Things are not becoming new. You're not supposed to be going into new seasons. This is the time for resting, reflecting, and springtime is when stuff starts to speed up again. But if you're trying to force things during that winter period, when your body is just begging for that time to come out of the productivity, to come out and rest a while, you are going to burn out quick. And so during the winter time, you need to make time for that coziness, for that rest, and for that reflection. This also happens monthly with women's cycles. We go through 4 phases: follicular, menstrual, ovulation, and luteal. And so especially in the luteal and menstrual phases, things need to slow down. And so people think, oh, I'm doing worse in this period, but no, it's just your body resetting. You cannot be in a constant state of push rather than flow, especially as a woman, because we need to have a balance of feminine and masculine energy. If you don't understand feminine energy, I have a video completely dedicated to that, but feminine energy is necessary for women in larger amounts. I'm not saying that there should not also be an element of masculine energy, but you need to find that balance for yourself for them to work together. But you cannot forget feminine energy as a woman. Your environment and the things you consume play an enormous part in how quickly you are going to burn out, or how you may get stuck in a rut or depression. I am talking about the things that you eat, the things that you watch, the things that you hear, that you listen to. Especially right in the morning or as you're going to sleep, you need to have positive input. You cannot sacrifice that time. You cannot have negativity going into that time, because it is going to set the tone for your whole day, especially the night before. That is going to set the tone of how your sleep goes and how the next day unfolds. Clean your room, because your environment cannot constantly have this energy. Energy acclimates in items. When you're having stuff all over your room, when you're having stuff in your space that is just holding energy, that is going to affect you, because no matter how much you are moving, that energy is not moving, and it is boxing you in and suffocating you. Also, make sure to pray over items, or have affirmations for items that you get from other people, because other people's items, whether it be a coat, whether it be a sweatshirt, hoodie, whether it be just anything that you get from somebody else, it can be a carrier of energy. This also applies to who you spend your time around. And this even applies if you don't think that you're constantly around people. If you're going to school, if you're going to work, to the grocery store, to anywhere, you are exposed constantly to energy, especially if you are an empath or if you are a healer or a leadership type. You can be very sensitive to the emotions of others. And this is something I struggled with constantly. You have to learn to protect yourself, to pray or have a mantra before you go out, to close your spirit to all of these other energies and cleanse yourself when you get home. I have gone through this period recently where I learned about empathy burnout, which is something that a lot of people struggle with unknowingly, and they think like, oh, why am I just struggling so much? I must just be crazy. But no, it's because you empathize with people so much, and you may not necessarily be sad about things in your life, but you feel the emotions of other people, even if it's just through social media, through news, through just saying hi to another person. Like, you can feel that empathy coming through, and you can get burnt out by that if you are not coming back to sit with your own energy and to sit with your own emotions. Detox and stay off of social media. This has been a big thing that I've had to learn recently, because I just empathize with people so much that it started to affect my own mental health, and I started to cry every night. I had aches in my body because of how much of energy that I was holding, because empathy, it's also an exchange of emotions. Everything you do is an exchange, but especially empathy, that's one of those emotions where you take on the negative energy of that other person. And the very last reason that you might be in a rut is that you might be going through a spiritual awakening, which can feel a lot like depression, because it always gets worse before it gets better. And I find that every time you are going into a season of winning, of going into a season of extreme abundance or getting something, you are going to have a tremendous test. I am telling you, this is something I've learned so many times recently, and every time you let go and you learn to just get through the situation, I'm telling you, there's always breakthrough on the other side. And you might just feel this heaviness of when your body is trying to let go and prepare you for a new season, or strengthen you for the season that you're about to go into. And things will come at you left and right where it's just like, I thought life was getting better, but that is life preparing you for your next season. Life is like an equation where you have, in math, think about it. So when you're moving stuff across the equal sign, the sign changes sometimes. It goes from negative to positive. But why in life do we think when we suddenly have a negative in our life that is just a negative that will stay that way forever? We need negatives in order to also have the positives. And every negative thing that we want to say is a negative thing in our mind is simply a method of getting exactly what we want and exactly what we're praying for. Chapter 2, solutions. First and foremost is movement. I know you've heard it a million times before. People are saying hack your happy hormones and different stuff by exercise, but even if you're not exercising, you have to find a way to get all of these energy bubbles out of your system, because otherwise you are going to self-implode. So movement is the way that you get these to just flow out, and you get that release of emotions. And so this can be in any form, from bike riding to dancing. Women especially dance, especially if you're at home. Us women hold a lot of tension, especially around the hips. If you're not dancing, you need to do yoga or walking. You need to do something every day that is going to release that energy and just let it continuously flow out of you. Meditation or nostalgic music that is going to help you release those emotions that you are holding, that trauma that you are holding that is causing you to spiral like that. And yes, you need to have your high vibrational things that you are listening to, but sometimes it is helpful to just listen to something that calms and soothes you or reminds you of that memory that is painful, because it's common advice to just, be more optimistic all the time. But I found that through my self-improvement journey, I have tried so much to constantly be positive. I thought that I was being balanced, but it caused me to actually suppress my emotions a lot. And I found that when I started to just let go of these emotions, but not wallow in them, be able to feel them, let them out, and then let them go, that's the only thing that helps. Another thing is self-compassion and rest when you are going through change, of when you are going through sadness, of when you are even having a spiritual awakening. Especially, you need to learn to be compassionate with yourself, because we constantly are going through things in life that change us, and change is inevitable in every season of life. You sort of have to learn to cope with it, and it can be difficult. So have that compassion for yourself and take care of yourself during that time. You should also detox. This includes your physical space. I already said you need to clean up your room. Also, maybe move big pieces of furniture out. It can help to just clear the space, even for a little while. Do a complete detox of everything that you are consuming, from the foods you eat, the clothes you wear, the things you listen to, the things you say. Everything needs a detox, and so the way you are going to supplement these things, like especially if you're like addicted to social media or different things, you're going to supplement this with prayer, meditation, movement, by reading from, if you have a holy book, you need to read these things and just have positive input during that time of when you are resetting. Now, this is a hack I learned when it comes to emotions, or even when it comes to habits and anything that you want to change. If you're having trouble changing the thing, all you have to do is constantly input more of the positive. So even if you have negative, you are never completely negative, and there is always space to basically drown out whatever it is. So if you have negative, even if it's not down here, even if it's up to here, you're going to input the positive habits, the positive stuff, the positive thoughts and actions, and that is going to make the cup overflow, and the negative will eventually come out, and you are going to have that healing happen gradually. It's basically just a game of opposites. If you are constantly lying in bed, one day you're going to get up and you're going to go for a walk. If you're constantly scrolling on social media, one day you are going to get up, you're going to listen to a podcast. If you're constantly eating junk food, one day you're going to get up and you're going to start eating more healthily. You're going to start working on your strength and consuming good things. But it has to be completely opposite. If one negative thing is on this side of the spectrum, you have to have the positive thing on this side of the spectrum. So that is going to overpower this thing. Now, the ultimate solution, how you're going to get out of that rut every single time, it is my 5-step formula, which I like to call MASCO. M, make a list. Any outstanding bills, assignments, or tasks that you need to get done, you're going to write all of those down so they don't interfere with your reset. A, analyze exactly what went wrong. By journaling, looking at patterns, texts you might have sent, calls you might have made, things that you were saying during this time of when you entered this rut, and you're going to look for patterns. You're going to look for clues as to why this might have happened. You're not just going to look at the symptoms. You're not just going to fix the symptoms, but you're going to look for the causes. You have to be your own investigator. S, schedule reflection time. This should be at the end of the week or in 3 to 4 days to analyze if this plan that you are putting into place is effective, if you have effectively diagnosed your causes and seen your triggers. If you are starting to better yourself and get out of the rut, you have to have that time to reflect, and this is also going to give you the motivation to work towards that, to not fail yourself at the end of this period. Your symptoms should start to look a lot better by then. G, get into a new environment. Once you've made a list of all of the things you have to do and analyzed what went wrong and scheduled that reflection time, it is time for you to get into a new environment. You are going to completely go out of where you are for you to be able to reset and think. This is one of the most important steps in this whole thing, is that you don't have to go anywhere expensive. Maybe just go to a park, go outside for a walk, but that is where you're going to do your thinking and your reflecting and get together an action plan for you to start to get out of this rut. You cannot do it in the same space that is making you sick. Now, in this time you are out of that environment, you're going to work on those tasks and get those due dates completed so you are not getting behind while you're trying to reset, you're going to call your friends, you're going to journal, you're going to vision board, you're going to basically reset your entire mental space while you're out of the environment so that you can come home and then reset your physical space. Once your head is clear, then you're going home for O to reset your home environment. This is cleaning, this is organizing, this is getting your playlist in order, maybe making some new ones, deleting some, getting rid of clothes, getting a fresh haircut, doing your hair, everything that is going to best set you up for success. Chapter 3, Mindset Shifts, the difference between a rut and a spiritual awakening, and prevention. First, understand that you are the co-creator of every reality that you have. So you are in control of how you think, of what you choose to let into your life, and that decides what frequency you are on, what vibration you have, and what things are coming into your life. So don't think that life is just happening to you. You are creating your life. And it might be helpful for you to change your perspective on ruts and to give yourself more compassion, because it is so completely normal, especially for those of us with big dreams and big goals. But the key is finding a way out of that and a way to balance your ambitions and your talents and dreams with not burning out, and finding a way to balance your life in a way that will make it easier for you to succeed. And some ruts or depressive phases or even hard days, they're necessary to balance the fast-paced lives that a lot of us have, and to teach us empathy and to help us slow down before we are going into a new season. If you are not going to do that for yourself, life is going to make sure that you stop in some way. You are going to have to stop eventually. And if you constantly run from a lesson that the universe or God is trying to teach you, you are not going to feel fulfilled, and you are going to get back into that rut or depressive state. And I need you to listen up to this, because it's a very important thing to understand, is that you will always feel burnt out or restless when you are avoiding doing what you're called to, and when you're being untrue to yourself, when you're not being authentic, when you're not speaking up for things that you know need to be spoken up for, you are going to feel that restlessness. Why? Because creating internal friction, what you're doing is conflicting with what you as a soul know you are meant to be doing. Now, earlier I said that you might not be in a rut, you may just be going through spiritual awakening. So how do you know if you're going through a spiritual awakening or if you're just feeling a bit depressed or off? So some of the signs that I've learned, they always will come up, is that before you go into this rut, you are going to realize something, you are going to learn something monumental that is like changing your thought process, or you are going to finally get something or feel like you're about to have a breakthrough when this is coming. And this rut or this spiritual awakening, it comes to test you because you're not ready for whatever is trying to come to you. So you may have something really exciting or profound happen, or learn something right before that happens, or you may go into menstruation. This is another sign where you start bleeding and you're in this sort of like depressive state of like reflecting on things and just feeling a little bit heavy. And this is because your body is cleansing and trying to prepare you for the next season. And the other sign is feeling like you have to die, but not feeling suicidal. A lot of people will confuse it for suicidal thoughts, but it can be a tricky thing to try to explain to people, like, oh, I don't feel suicidal, like I want to kill myself, but I know that I need to die. And that's because you are meant to have a spiritual death of where you are reborn, but you're sort of at war with that, and that's is what's causing the pain, because you're still holding on to things that need to die with that version of you that is trying to cycle into a new season. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions about that, feel free to leave a comment, and I will try to explain it in the best way that I can. Now, prevention. Prevention has to come through systems and routines, and the best routine is It can be built off of anything, but the best routine has to have 3 things. It has to have movement, it has to have constant creation or something that gives you purpose, and it has to have positive consumption regarding the things you eat, things you watch, and things you hear. Alrighty girls, that is everything that I have for you today. I hope that it was beneficial and helpful to you. Make sure to stick around for the homework that I will be putting right here on the screen, and then we will have affirmations before we finish up this episode. Alrighty, I will see you in the next one. I love you. Bye-bye. I am in control of my mind, emotions, and actions. Every challenge helps me grow. I'm grateful for where I am and excited for what's coming. I release what no longer serves me and welcome clarity and abundance. I trust myself to handle anything with strength and grace. I focus on what I can control and let go of the rest. I find joy and gratitude in every moment.